Okay, back again, and now we will start with just one tween type, because we test if everything works before we are doing really like the legwork and writing 20-30 scripts. But yeah, so we start with tween type linear. This is basically like, this isn't like an easing equation if you are very anal about it, because linear is no easing. Basically, this is just doing nothing in terms of easing or tweening, but still it's helpful. So as I said, I commented this, so this is, there is no easing, no acceleration. In this, and what this looks like is like this. Argument 0, sorry. T is always time in an equation, or in these equations, current time, current 2 hours. B, which equals argument 1, which is the begin or the start value. C, which is, you guessed it, argument 2, which is the change. That is basically the target minus the start value. And start value in this time is, in this case, is like not the start, but the current value. It's a bit confusing, but you will see. And argument 3, D, is a duration, which is the time, or how long to perform the easing. So basically this, no, forget what I said. So what this script should do is it should return C times T divided by D plus B. Very simple, very intuitive, isn't it? Yeah, but anyway, movement. So yeah, bear with me. What we now can do is that we now have our very first tween type defined. We can play with this. So not the sprite, the object. What we will do is, because at the moment there's nothing happening except for we can press escape. This part right now is to demonstrate like a use case, how this works. So to quickly and easily demonstrate how we utilize the tweening function is, where is it? Space, okay, of course. Whenever we press the space key, we tween. And for the sake of simplicity, we will simply add 256 pixels whenever we hit the space key, and yeah, move like 256 pixels for the duration of 120 steps. How do we do this? Very simple. So we use our nice tween ext. And now if you look closely, or not closely, but if you see, this is why we use the add param thingies. So because now this is showing up at the bottom what parameters we need. So variable. So we want to tween the axis, the x variable. So this one. And now here's the only thing I don't like about this system, but there's simply no way around this at the moment, at least. We have to put in the variable also as a string. So if we tween x, we also have to put in x in quotation marks, make a string out of this, right? So, and this would work the same way. If we tween alpha, then we need to put in alpha as a string, and so on and so forth. So it's good practice that you just double check that these are really like correct, because this is basically the most easy way to screw up the tweening. But if those are correct, then it's kind of bulletproof, more or less. So, and the end value, value of a variable should be x plus 256 in this case, because we use a relative value. You can also put in like hard-coded 320 or whatever. So this is where it should be after the duration. The duration, as I said, 120 steps. And now the tween type. At the moment, we only have tween type linear. So this is the one we are going to use. And boom. So whenever we press space, this function is called. And because this would move to the right forever, like always 256 more for 120 steps, we, for this demonstration, need to reset this. So let's quickly just use VR key, and what this does is it sets x back to x start. And let's run this. And here we are. Now, if we press space, this happens. 120 seconds. Press R, reset, repress R. What happens if we press space multiple times during tweening? This would basically mess things up. Not exactly mess things up, but there are several tweeners created, and that doesn't really work so well. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind. You have to control the tweenings, the tweeners. Like, don't tween at the same time the same value. You can have multiple tweeners for the same object. So we could tween the alpha. What we will do, we will tween the alpha and the x, but not the same, so never tween the same variable at the same time, but you can tween multiple values at the same time. So let's use this. So alpha, we set this to 0 because it's 1. So alpha 0 over 120 steps and tween type linear. And whenever we reset this, we set alpha back to 1. So now we tween two values at the same time. Let's look. Oh, what's that? Test alpha, what? Okay, where is the problem? Of course, my God, image alpha. Yes, image alpha. Good morning. And of course, we have to set this to image alpha as well. I don't know. I should have been more, yeah. I don't know why I didn't realize this. But anyway, so if we now use this, here we are, we press space and look at that. So this means our tweening system works. What we now have to do is that we have to add a lot, and I really mean a lot, of tweening equations. So we really have like a big extensive library of tweening or easing equations which we can use. And yeah, be warned, this will be a lot of legwork, and this will be the next part of this series. Okay, then yeah, prepare to get typing, but I tell you, it will be totally worth it in the end. Okay, see you next part. Bye.